Hi, Brady Jeff here, making another video on this AI ethics kind of topic, the series of videos. And the one I want to talk about right now is the whole concept of synthetic data. And I was talking with someone who's preparing a webinar and kind of mentioning this topic. I don't want to mention who they are yet because I want them to release their thing, but it's not something new because a lot of it's not something that how you do it is kind of a thing, but using AI for synthetic data. And it's funny because I was researching through, looking up other terms. I found that even Luigi Musi uh, had a earlier this year in March had a post on LinkedIn. So I'm going to probably reply with this to that, but on synthetic data and for the language field, and the whole thing of people. A lot of people know I worked in the telecom industry, telecoms, mobile telephone solutions for a period of time for 5 years. And so and I managed the test department. The whole thing of doing the test department is to have data to test on it, right? And so you try to simulate data or you try to create data and you try to do that. And it's always kind of a thing because you want to have enough data to show that you're testing just as if you've got, this number, thousands or millions of users accessing the system and trying to do tasks at the same time. And so you have enough data to be able to do this. And when you're trying to do features on, we're doing time dimensions and kind of cyclical time, and doing beta reporting on things that are happening on the network. So you want to say this has happened every Monday or once per year for a month, or we're trying to predict things and do kind of decision support, kind of decision support system management of the monitoring the system. And so you want to be able to do some reporting across that. And so, but you have to have data to do the reporting, right? So this is the whole thing when you're testing software. And so the whole thing is, do you create synthetic data or not? And so this comes up, and that was 20 years ago. The interesting thing here in the language industry is huge. It's just got, got data every day. I talk about data oceans, right? So look at my video. I talk about data oceans, not data lakes, data oceans, because we're just swimming in data all day long, right? I got a video that talks about the dilemma of the language industry. Is we're doing language. I'm doing 5 or 6 different types of language communication right here. I'm doing you hear my voice, my Halloween coughing voice, right? It's the result of that. Sorry, but I had 2 months of bronchitis, so it's kind of 3 months of bronchitis. So it's kind of affecting my voice from the coughing. But then you can see I'm doing gestures. I'm facial kind of gestures, hand gestures. You might be seeing subtitles down on the bottom, so that'd be kind of another type of input channel for you. You can hear my intonation and things like that. So I'm actually speeding up and slowing down. So it's not just the voice signal. It's not just the phonemes I'm pronouncing, right? It's a lot of other things. And so there are a lot of these things that help you interpret, right? And what happens is when you're testing systems, you want to make this is data, right? This is all different data and different types of data. So the whole thing of Luigi brought up synthetic data, and then recently this other person, when they get the webinar, I'll be able to mention it. It's the synthetic data, and I just saw yesterday, just this morning maybe, synthetic AI has got a thing on that, right? So there's a whole thing of using AI for creating synthetic data, and I think this is going to be one of the new kind of things to think about, right? Can we create and automate the creation of data, different types of data, using AI platforms to learn from the data we've already got, create different types of data and more varied data, and then do it and then learn from that and then create more. And I think this is going to be kind of a really interesting thing. And the really think about, and this comes back to my other video on the AI ethics about intellectual property, right? This is gonna, I don't know if this is gonna hit the fan, but I think that there'll be plenty of stuff about this. And I think in my background of having the intellectual properties, I can feel it, right? I can feel it coming. I think it'll be really interesting to see where this kind of goes. But the synthetic data will be it will really help a lot. It will help people test better, find things, and to find it different kinds of the problem of testing and all that is having limited test cases, which are not sufficient enough to test all different types of use cases and scenarios that users would encounter. And users will always encounter something you never thought about, right? At least in the testing, when I was testing and working in dev teams, and one of my managers, the CTO of MyCom, and his statement when we were setting the test team and all that, he says, if you're not finding bugs, it's because you're not testing at all, or you're not testing enough, or you're not testing the right things to find more bugs. And that was our whole baseline to really set up the test team. And that's what I was managing to do it. And the whole thing was to find more bugs, right? And the whole thing here is you can always find more bugs. And that's why usually when I get new telephones and things, I wait until it's late in the generation because I want everybody else to find the bugs before I have to find them, and then lose my data and stuff and features. So this synthetic data thing, I think, will be a really kind of important jump into how we will be able to test things and how we'll be able to find how users find things, right? I don't think we can predict. I don't think that we can, imitate. We can only imitate what others have done, right? Or to try to imitate and then find things and do that. I mean, we can't. We can predict what they might find, right? And this is kind of the tough thing. This whole thing of AI. And it's more now. It's predictive analytics. It's predictive aspects, and you can predict based on what you've already got. And when you've got a lot of stuff, and that's why the synthetic data can really help, then you can be able to predict more. And then you can be able to predict where you might find things. And I think that's where decision support systems come into play, and they're going to be really cool. 20 years later, right? So finally be able to use it to talk about the things I did a long time ago. But so this will be really really interesting, and we'll see how it goes with the data. And there are a lot of, now we can see a lot of posts on LinkedIn. There are going to be a lot of webinars about this. So I'm kind of looking forward to participating in the audience. Those are even being asked to kind of talk about it. So from the experience I've done this a few times. More than once, right? In different places, in different challenges. So that's the thoughts for the day on how AI ethics and synthetic data kind of plays into the whole AI ethics kind of topic. And we'll see where that goes. It'll be an interesting ride, whatever it may be, in the hype cycle of expectations and time, right? So have a good day.